The Rhine River is often the very first river cruise that people take in Europe, and for good reason. It offers a little bit of something for everyone. There's all the art, history, and culture that France, Germany, and the Netherlands and Switzerland have to offer, as well as the scenery in the Rhine Gorge and the wine-growing region in the Alsace region and in Western Germany. I'm Bob Bradley from the Pampered Cruiser, and if you're planning this cruise or any other river or small ship ocean cruise, then we'd love to help. You'll find our contact information in the notes below. In this video, I'll highlight a week-long itinerary between Basel, Switzerland and Amsterdam. Some of the port stops or shore excursions may vary slightly depending on which river cruise line you choose, but most of what is documented here is typical of any Rhine River cruise. On this specific journey, we started in Basel, but there are just as many cruises sailing the opposite direction starting in Amsterdam. On this cruise, we're aboard the AMA Mora, and if you want to view our ship tour video, the link is in the notes below. Likewise, if you're spending some time pre or post cruise in Switzerland, in Basel, Lucerne, or Zurich, there's a link to a short video about those three common river cruise land extensions below. On a Rhine River cruise, for a good part of your journey, you'll have France on one side of the boat and Germany on the other. Our first port of call after leaving Basel on our way to Amsterdam is Breisach, on the German side of the river, with the French region of Alsace directly across on the French side. AMA gave us some choices of shore excursion today, with some people visiting the German city of Freiburg. Others opted for a hike through the Black Forest, while some did a cycling tour of the local wine-growing region. I chose to visit the French village of Riquier, a medieval village surrounded by winemaking vineyards. Riquier only has 1,500 residents and has remained largely unchanged for centuries. It even managed to escape World War II without any significant damage, so it looks largely like it did 400 years ago. This is one of those places where it's fun just to wander around and get lost. Because we're here in the late fall, there aren't too many other tourists to share it with either. Today we're in Strasbourg, that has a few claims to fame. Its town center was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. It's also the seat of the Council of Europe, the Eurocorps, the European Parliament, and the European Court of Human Rights. This city's in the Alsace region of France, but in the 19th and 20th centuries was part of Germany for a few stretches. In a 75-year time period, the region had changed countries 4 times. As a result, there's a fusion of both French and German culture in this place. Like many European cities, there's a cathedral in the town center of the oldest part of town, and inside of that is the Strasbourg astronomical clock that dates back to the 17th century, though not fully completed in its present state until the 19th century. It's a bit like a giant cuckoo clock, but with 18-inch high figures of Christ and the Apostles. Ludwigshafen is our jumping off point for several different activities this morning. For those looking for more active excursions, AMA offered up hiking and cycling excursions today. Those wanting the more traditional shore excursions were given the choice between visiting the medieval town of Speyer or what I chose, the tour of Heidelberg. Situated on the banks of the Neckar River, Heidelberg is a romantic city surrounded by the ruins of its extensive castle and is known for its university, the oldest in all of Germany, first established in 1386. The castle is a short vernacular ride up the hill and also provides a view to the more modern town of Heidelberg and the surrounding area. Heidelberg is also a great place just to go for a walk and peer in the shop windows. And just to demonstrate that river cruises really aren't anything like ocean cruises, in the mid-afternoon we set sail for Rudesheim and arrived just in time for a nightcap. In this case, our nightcap involved a short train ride into town for flaming coffee. Brandy is poured into a special mug and then set on fire. It's doused with coffee and topped with whipped cream and chocolate flakes. This is the sacred ceremony of the burning coffee. This is where our German host risks life and limb, violating every workers' compensation board rule in the book, risking personal safety for our entertainment. It just doesn't get any better than this. The other nice part about being in these ports at night is to see what the ports of call have to offer after dark. Even though we arrived in Rudesheim last night, places always look a little bit different in the daylight. This delightful little town of 9,000 is nestled amongst the vineyards, and we're docked right in the center of town. There's even a gondola that will take you for a sky ride over the vineyards. We're here in mid-November, so we can see the preparations to get ready for the Christmas markets, and Rudesheim is a regular stop for those cruises. Besides shopping, there are a number of wine shops and wine tasting rooms connected with the vineyards in the area. A group of us dropped into a wine cellar with a rather colorful local vintner and ended up doing some wine tasting. For the history enthusiasts, the Busenberg Castle, or what remains of it, is right in town also, and it was originally constructed in the 12th century and once belonged to the Archbishop of Mainz. In the afternoon, it was all about the Rhine Gorge. When you see pictures of a riverboat winding its way through the mountains with the castles high on the hill on either side of the river, there's a good chance that that's the Rhine Gorge. Today, we'll see 30 castles over the course of the 3 or 4 hours that we spend in the gorge. Even in the November chill, all the guests were up on the top deck to get the best view of the gorge and its castles. While cruising through the Rhine Gorge, we also passed the famous Lorelei Rock, located in the narrowest and deepest stretch of the river. There's many stories about the Lorelei, most notably about the seductive female voice that calls out to young sailors as they pass, and ultimately end up shipwrecked on the rocks. Once through the gorge, it was straight on to Cologne, where we were able to experience the famous German beer halls at night. Kolsch is the beer of choice in this part of Germany, and it keeps coming until you signal to your waitstaff that you're finished by placing your coaster over your beer cup. Cologne is Germany's 4th largest city with just over 1 million people. It's also a very multicultural place with 18% of the population originating in over 180 different nations. Towering over the center of town is Cologne's Cathedral, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and definitely the city's most recognizable landmark. The cathedral was built to house the reputed relics of the three Magi and was the tallest building in Europe until the Eiffel Tower in Paris was constructed in the 19th century. Cologne's other claim to fame is its namesake fragrance. Eau de Cologne, or cologne water, has been exported all over the world. We docked right in town, just a few steps from the cathedral, and a short walk to everything else. You can take a bike ride along the riverside, or maybe check in at one of the famed German beer halls.
Oh yeah, I know, I gotta work on it.
Just make sure you don't go too early in the day.
All right. So this is the Kolsch beer tour and walking tour. So luckily they were smart enough to do the walking tour part first before they filled us up with beer. But this is the deal when you come to Germany, you get to do these things. They keep bringing the beer until you put your coaster on top and indicate you don't want any more. Prost! Thank you for having us.
You know, eye contact is very important here, right? When you think.
All right. All right. So the instructional part there is you have to make eye contact when you do Prost, or it doesn't count.
Like many Rhine River cruises, we get a full day in this city before having to disembark the ship. We arrive fairly early in the morning and have all day to explore the city. Amsterdam has a number of fantastic museums, so it's worth planning which ones you want to visit well before you travel there. Most notably, the Anne Frank Museum requires tickets to be bought online 2 months before your intended visit. Walk-up tickets for the Anne Frank Museum are very rarely available. Otherwise, a walking tour will give you a good feel of how the locals live, or maybe you want to take a boat tour, because there's lots of them, through the canals. If you enjoyed this video, then give us a like, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want more information about AMA Waterways, there's a ship tour video in the links below. There's also a link for pre- and post ideas in Switzerland and Amsterdam. Thanks for watching.